That's a terrible question because no one remembers, and I get talked about how do I deal on the MLS and stay within the rules and all that kind of stuff. And I talked about this, yeah, exclusion form or go active no show. Starting last week, Tuesday, fine $250. It was really awesome. Laid and put in their listings on the MLS because there were some legitimate exceptions. Guys, would you just use that? Take the listing, go home, publish, and immediately change the status to active no show. Days on market. You don't have to upload photos. When your seller says, hey, it's time, green, they sign it and activate the listing.
Anyone thinks that this isn't serious, got fined $250 being 1 day late. Well, it's not that big of a deal, right? Then like 10 minutes from the MLS. So just
stop it. Okay. If in doubt, disclose. There are I had two different conversations this morning. Or an issue. It could have been mold, could have been meth, could have been, and do I need to disclose if it's okay? Then no, you don't need to disclose. In doubt, disclose. You can say what this house was done, or what do they call themselves? When he came and took care of it, mold experts, whatever. If they do the job and they've reached that, like I said, if someone died in the house, he or she was old, you don't have to disclose a lot of material fact on the house. Anyway, contacted me. My sister's the seller. Was that? Well, yes. At the okay, if you have a notice of disclose, those are those little things. If in doubt, disclose. Just quick. I wrote the next. Say the A word or the L word. That would be their word. As soon as someone words on you, you say, "Great, now I script. I can't talk to you anymore. Please have your attorney contact Dean." Most of the time, they will backpedal. 99% of the time, they'll backpedal and say, "It's a guy in my church," or what? That's usually who their attorney is. Doesn't understand Rep C. I bet you know more about the Rep C than. But as soon as someone drops that, you know to engage. You may not engage with someone, an attorney that's going to sue you. And that's why they need to talk to me. And then as in writing that they're no longer, I'm happy to turn them back over to you with the challenges or whatever they are. In a couple of weeks, I'll be doing a team meeting, talk about all kinds of ways to keep you out of the courtroom. All right. And then I just wrote this. What do you do today? I'm sorry. Awesome. Yeah. Flee the state. That change.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. There are consistently happening. We're in the industry change, right? And is about change in itself is right. Change happens. What's really we respond to change, how we adapt, if we thrive, or if we step back into state. And so I able to understand crucial conversations in today's market. And this conversations is any high moment throughout a transaction or during your process. You are initially connecting with a potential, I want you to think about the times when you are for an inspection issue or appraisal gaps that need client. I had this happen a few weeks ago. 2 hours before their due diligence caused some problems because there's another house that we want to check. Right? How do you have? And what we'll talk about in a moment is that one way to say things. So say, which we're going to dive into, there's 1,000 different variations of situations that can be a perfect thing to say. But today, what we'll talk can actually just build a framework how to navigate those conversations effectively. Okay, this is really going to be about effective communication. When it comes to sales, with 13, I was in Woodland Hills, California, and I was knocking doors selling security systems. And this is about maybe 2.5, 3 weeks in. And I had completely forgot my script. And the door, and I said, "Oh, we're the ones that you put like in the yard, and we give you a free security system." I was just fumbling through my embarrassed that I didn't. I just literally just turned around and left. It pushed me to really focus studying the psychology of communication, to effectively communicate and help other people make decisions. And what I want to say first off is a student of communication. Become a student of understanding how to guide, because as a real estate professional, that's what you're going to do on a daily basis. Okay, those who can really guide people emotionally through in selling process are the ones that win at the highest level. To lean into, we'll dive into a few different resources. Phil Jones. How many of you are, probably all of you that went to Mega Camp, or he, from my communicators out there, he's so effective, efficient with what he does, and he had told exactly what to say, the magic words and impact. The second book that he knows the deal, and this is for real estate agents specifically. Okay, so I highly recommend both books. If you really want to get very effective with email marketing, with your online marketing, $6 million offers and $100 million leads, by Alex Hormozi, and he has some study where he's really great when it comes to doing email marketing content. If you really when it comes to those avenues, and then Tracy, who's kind of the godfather of this of selling. We're in the business of what? Sales, right? And business. And so we have to understand how to really effectively understand what the motivation and get to that destination as quickly as possible. So that's what the topic of today is going to be about. Actually start with watching a quick clip from Phil Jones, and this was actually at Mega Camp. So this is going to be a great resource. Again, this website for the past 3 weeks, valuable and impactful this is. We're going to watch a quick clip. What I want you to do is just write down what it says are very valuable that you can go ahead and use and duplicate that. And just golden nuggets where you say that can impact how it thrives in 2025. So we'll watch this.
As we enter into this change in this industry, people aren't looking, they're looking for the right person with the right to deliver the right results. Yet the trouble is, historically, pin in a map, we've said, got a housing need in any way, shape, or form. Hey, I'm your girl. I got you. Today. So we have to be able to answer this question People you're looking to help and get crystal clear and focused. You know the answer to that question? To this question. Challenges, problems, or puzzles you're looking to help those people. The 842 of you in this room right now, what is different? And you know what you're all going to tell me? The thing that cannot be the thing that makes you the same. When we have them, we're in good shape. So what I invite you to is to follow a process that I call 3x3. Very specific groups of people that you hold a superpower toward. You've got an edge, that you've got a fair advantage. And could you then think of the 3 biggest problems that exist in those people's world that you higher level than other agents? What we can start to do is we can understand, achieve Y. I help X achieve Y. Help X achieve Y. 3 different things. You're starting to build a value proposition. Facets. It's not a one. Speaking to someone about something, you can show up in that and say, I'm your girl, I'm your guy. It's easier to pick up the generalism. If you shoot with generalisms, no. Catch the irony here? Industry is going through a little change right now, correct? Just a tiny, tiny little change. Huge amounts of uncertainty, correct? Certain of in life is uncertainty, you know that. Guaranteed uncertainty for the rest of ever. Huge amounts of change. Every industry is going through huge. Much of this industry called August the 17th. Do you know what the 17th is? Saturday is August the 17th. This is get ready for in the future. This is something to get ready. When change is coming, can you stop the coming? In fact, you are in the change is a good thing. You are change navigator. That's what your profession is. Every single day. Can you stop the fact that change is coming? You can't. There are in this industry to celebrate your differences than now. To understand the people you're looking to help and the problems you're helping us. Would anybody like a framework that gives them the ability to show up all 9 of those problems and build now, whether you're in an elevator, producing a video web page, delivering a listing presentation, delivering a bio, you had a pantry of language, a place of one when you're speaking to the right person at the right time. See, for you to insert contextual scene setter, easiest contextual scene is, well, you know how most people, or well, you know how some people. We know how some people are going through drastic changes that mean that they need to really quickly. Boom. What we then do behind a contextual setup is, what is that? What is the understanding of the problem? Which means that they feel so many things to do at the by all the decisions and actions that need to happen for them to do career. And although selling their house is the biggest thing that's happening for them at that moment in time. That's right. What I do is I help those people. Easy to do. I help them in that move, maximizing the sale, remove friction that's often attached with a high, which means that what then happens is they can deliver energy and effort towards succeeding in their new career. And they can minimize the disruption to the people they. What now happens? Somebody's. I know a girl that's relocating. You've shown them that you understand them. You're the person. If we have that kind of language, we need to position the right. We need to know when to bring the to say, we say the worst time to think about the thing in the moment where you're saying it. All the moments are changing. Every moment that you're looking to get to with your I do know is it's earlier. Get to the people you're looking to help appreciates. We're having all these around value prop right now. Here's the mistake. Is only valuable where it is both appreciate and appreciating. How I'm going to demonstrate my value proposition to you, all the things that I could do that makes that is called trying to justify your fee. If you are justifying the people, as you justify, then what you are doing, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to value yourself in your own existence. You only need to give people the information they need. If you show somebody, Bill, a giant list, look at that list, they'll be like, Bill, you're awesome, but I don't need all of this. What is the next thing they're going to say? How much less do I pay? If I'm anything, has anybody ever looked at an all-inclusive? So there's no way that I'm going to pay for the all-inclusive resort because you cannot validate it. Is the list and add the specificity for the people we're going to help. How is we ask more curious questions? Because curious questions earn us the content. Here are some curious questions that are going to come quick that you might. Questions like, what is your experience? The word professional. Experience of working with a professional real estate agent? Not much. Or they. What do you understand about your available from here? What do you understand about the understand about all the value that I can provide you with to help you? So what is your experience? And then when you understand somebody's problems, you can ask a how important is it to you that you have somebody that can help? How important is it to you that you'd have somebody to help with black? Is that useful before you start showing up and throwing? What is your experience? What do you understand? Worth the money. It's the things that go with your thing that make it worth the money. If you articulate the things that go with your thing, people will see. Got it?
Okay. Just speaking to specific scripts or frameworks in that, but what are some of the sounds? Uniqueness.
He specializes phone in on the buyer's needs.
Yeah. It's kind of funny with the conversation of I'm a realtor, right? We're lumping ourselves in with all of their prior experience, which could be good or bad, right? And so how do we get very specific and case ourselves as a specialist, right? Example, if conversation, you say, I help people and sell real estate and build generational wealth. That little small line at the end adds, right? Instead of I'm a which is generalized. So I want you to think about what is the proposition, how do you actually present that to your client that allows them to see you as a specialist and just an agent. What else did you catch? Kylie, not throw. Okay.
Which actually, because all inclusives, I don't need a lot. I get that. So if I'm showing them all the stuff that I do, it's a row.
Yeah, watch last week, right? If you don't really understand my goal is to sell my home, or my goal is to buy a home. It's actually not very down what's their actual outcome, right? Is it being closer to cut down on their commute time and be able to spend more time with family? They just had a baby and they need an extra space. People need that's causing them to make that decision. Cameron?
Say that was all about him saying Steve.
Yep. Kylie.
So two things. The first was the thing that makes me the same. He said that. I thought that was really interesting. And then here and my value will appreciate.
It's great. We're going to go through a few different can use. And so I want you to just capture your attention, the things that you feel like you can utilize. Most importantly, I want you to come up with next 7 days. Okay, so from everything we talk about today, it's the one thing that you can implement that's going to have the greatest impact. Okay, so it's never what. Okay, it's not about what, it's how you say it. This is tools that I learned early on in myself. I was done doing security sales. I ended up doing DirecTV services door to door, and I did that. And I would teach this to sales reps at the time. Was that day, but it's the confidence level. They don't need to. And Ed Milet actually says this. They don't need to believe what you're saying. They need to what you're saying. So when you're trying to help a client, a seller, feel support them through listing their home, don't focus too much on the words, right? Or the what to say. Focus more importantly on it. Okay. One example. We used to have kind of a competition, how quickly we can get into a home when we knock on a door. Selling on the doorstep was not something that was going to happen. Hard to build trust, and then to get somebody's credit card, step, very low chances. So the goal was, first step, the goal is never to sell somebody. It's to get in the house. And so there's two types, there's many types, but there's two that we focus and Cisco's. These were type of technology that you have either DirecTV, and so we were switching people from one provider, right? So we'd switch them from Dish to DirecTV or to DirecTV, and we'd always have to look at their receiver to determine if for pricing and for their plan and stuff like that. Use that as a foot in the door to get inside the home. Or depending on what kind of technology you guys have, to offer you a better plan at a lower rate, right? The Cisco or Motorola, right? So that was the actual technology. So to showcase, I would take my reps, they'd shadow me, they'd walk, and they'd listen to my pitch, and I would tell clients, I'd say, it really depends on the box that you have, or the subway receiver. Right? And whenever they would say, well, sure, I'd be like, well, just show me where it is and I'll tell you if we can go ahead. And then I just start walking forward as if they've already invited me. Now, they were that I do this 1,000 times a day and that everybody, so what do you think they normally would do? Oh, it's over here. And they just show me where it's at. Get into the home within about 20 to 30 seconds. When our actual consultation would start. Asking qualified questions to determine service, and then we can provide a prescription, right? A recommendation. And in real estate, what I want, so again, I'm not going to go through the 1,000 things of here's to say. I'm going to give you more so frameworks for all the various scenarios you're going to run into, and what I do is get very good at kind of fit whatever scenario you're running into. And one example of this is if you have eggs, how many different meals make with eggs? Right? You can make cookies with eggs, but you can also make in eggs and toast, right? Same thing that we're going to go through is I'm going to give you the ingredients, decide what you make of it down the road. Okay. One thing that Phil said is worst time to think about what you're going to say. When is it? In the moment. How many of you would keep coming to the team about what we're going to teach that day? How valuable would it be? And so think about the same thing. We would idea again say that don't practice when money is all. You don't want to practice your pitch when you're not an actual client that you could convert. Say contact with doing your prospect. Don't practice on your clients. Practice prior. Right? Your listing presentation, your buy. All these things that you know are high pressure moments that count, the game winning shots. Okay. So that is what I would encourage you. Over the last 30 days, have you spent practicing how you say things? Here's another way of saying preparation prevents poor. On there. Proper preparation prevents performance. So if you prepare before, your likelihood of closing the deal. So again, like we mentioned, how many in here? And how many of you are still used? Right? It's too young. I'm actually remembering that question there. The cool thing with Google Maps and iMaps is destination. How of what to generate or what result to spit out? Is it the most scenic route? Is it spit out the fastest route? Right? So you can choose a setting. Its prices are what, $10 again? I drive an electric, what it is. Right. But most commonly it's going to spit out, here's the to say, hey, everybody's going to jump in your car, right? And we're going to drive to Salt Lake. How many? Probably everybody in this room, right? Is that actually the only route to get to? Like we could take State Street for a while up to Highland and out go through Park City and go all the way around. So there's different routes that we can take, and that's this. Is that again? It just gives you so many different you can take to get a deal to the finish line. What the true needs are of a client. Ingredients of effective communication. Language. Number 2 is. Number 3 is pay. All these, and number 4 is listening and clarifying. So these are just have and be a student of in order to be more effective with your communication. Here's some interesting research. Research shows that communication based on the type words only matter, have a 7% factor. Okay. When it comes to persuasion, it is not. I cannot tell you how many words when I'm in a listing presentation or even here at the front of the room in team meeting, but you still get the idea, right? Words that matter. And in fact, the second, how you say it. So that's your tonality, the pace at which you speak. And then your nonverbal, it's actually 50 the equation. It has the highest impact on win friends and influence people. So I want you to how you are incorporating but holding your arms. And funny thing is, when you know to watch people talking and know if they're in rapport. Posturing the same way. So pay attention to that because it's interesting. I served a Mississauga in Tennessee. Does anyone out there?
Yeah.
Okay. This is slow. Slow. People that are fast city walkers, right? Not very apt. So be aware of where's of your personality. How fast do they talk? What's their slow down or speed up to match them? With pace, speed is right in part. I think this is probably the most important part. Listening and clarifying. You want to focus on question-based. Questions are the key. That telling is not selling. So if you think about your presentation with your client, buyers or sellers, you spend presenting, telling them all to do, versus asking, clarifying their actual needs, right? This is all iceberg. Most agents only do is go below surface and identify what's really important for them. Example of this. A few weeks ago, who calls me 2 hours before due diligence, and this is a $1.1 million that we might want to check out. So the first thing, but then I just went back into our initial consultation. I said, okay, well, great. We'll send me the ad, and I pull it up and I see where it's located, island. And the question I ask is, that was really important during our initial was that location was your guys' that obviously is important for your kids to be really close to a park. And I'm just noticing on this home, it looks like it's in the street. So I'm just curious, have you guys actually driven a location to see if it's an ideal fit? We haven't, but we looked at all the, the interior, the other features, and it as well. And so I said, well, just drive by it. Long story short, they called me back and they said, or the miscommunication, that is the right location that we want. We're so glad that we let's just move forward. Now I could have be like, not handle that situation, help them progress forward. But it was because I asked up front of what was really important to them. If I'm expensive or try to go off these things that matter, then I could have lost the transaction for them. And I knew that. So you have to clear up front of asking questions. So the benefits of selling. Questions allow you to gather and analyze. Questions involve the other person's to sell themselves on what's important to them. Demonstrate that you genuinely care what is important to them beyond buying and selling. And they're never just trying to buy a house. They're never just trying to for all of that. So you have to identify what's the actual or cause that's having them. A few simple examples. What do you understand about how the agents are compensated? Talking about the past couple of weeks, that would be a great question to ask during your consultation for buyers. To ask that question. Yeah, because it's the perfect tee up for how buyers agents are compensated in the three different they have. And you have by navigating it with that question. What has been your previous experience of working with real estate agents? Experience. How important is it to you that someone who helps you with to them throughout your consultation. So this is more of a closing them ready to sign the BBA or your ERS. There's probably 100 different questions that you can ask, if not more. So we're going to team meeting recap email with questions. And what you want to do is go, if I use this specific framework or so this is from the book, again, exactly what to say. And different frameworks that are used in the book. Now, you can use these in so many for lead generation, but they're also great for helping to a client along through the transaction. I'm not going to go through all of them for the sake of time, but I'll give you some. Okay, so here's the magic word. So you can use this experience with as well as these magic words through email, phone call, any variation. But here's an example. One is for, let's use this one. So how important is it that you sell your home quickly? The listing presentation. Very simple question, but you up, right? Pricing strategy. If their timeline is very, explain how it's important to price at the lower end for the range that you're giving them, right? Days on market. That you achieve a specific price. Here's some for what do you understand? So, email format, sending it for lead generation to your clients. Do you understand, or what do you know about estimate or home's value? Now, how accurate do we know is this? Yeah, all over the place. So this is a cool little email template. And this is in the book to say for real estate agents. So he has all the different scenarios that you can break into. So I would, reading through those, we're going to send it out today. Read what are the different times where I could use this switch. So this is the second half of that. To obtain an estimate of your home's value. As a matter of fact, Zillow's CEO sold his home for 40% estimate. Interesting, right? And then it says reply to this email with their address of your home you want to buy, and I'll be able to estimate. You can name it whatever you want, right? So just again, just based off of the one. Now you can build a whole framework based off of that one phrase, right? So we'll end with this. This in that video is that your the money, it's the things that go with your thing, the money. If you can do a better job of our people see more value in your thing, right? That you provide that gets them to the end result that they want, right? Which is always going to be a feeling or an outcome, a specific outcome. You've got to identify what is the buyer trying to obtain and how can I help them navigate it, right, through effective communication. Of an overarching topic, an encouragement to go and study some of these frameworks. And the variations are too broad for us to dial in on this meeting, but it's great for you to be able to go back. And any ahas, thoughts before we wrap up? Body language is so important. I know I pace back and forth because I'm trying to get to both sides, but imagine if I in front of the room every day and just talk like this. How many of you guys would be? Selena always show up, right? Yes. We'll give a round of applause